Now, let's start today's level. Before now we start, I want to now show something now very interesting. Before now, somebody now tell me the one website now, this website you can design now some slide. Because I have tried now, they just give me some free credit, but after now I try now. I created several slider. After that, I don't have credit, so I'm thinking if I buy the credit, or I made now slide with AI myself. Because we are do coding, now we are using AI. Actually, we can do anything. Anything is possible. So now before now we start, I just now share some information to you. I think this website, that's one very popular one. Maybe you don't know. Maybe you heard this one. This website now they provide now. You just read now markdown text, then they will change it to slider to you. Then you can now just make it now as a slider. I'll show you the code. The code actually this is very simple. Yeah, here. Can see? That's now all the markdown code. Now they have, you can use some HTML. So because this website they provide the framework, we can use markdown to create a slider. The good thing, because AI content we can do text perfect. We can do markdown very perfect. So I now first I ask AI to give me one content. Now one design. You can see that's all the design. That's all the design. It's just text. I just ask text. Slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. After that, I also ask AI now give me one style. Now what's the color? What's the icon? After that, I just ask AI. Can see in the beginning I just AI. Please check file. There's two files. One is design guide. Another one is contents. Create slide V pages. After that, now I get the PDF. Let me show you the PDF. That's created by AI. Actually, now it's not bad. It's not bad because I do not spend much time. Now I just created this slide actually several minutes ago. So that's just one time I ask AI to create this slide. You can see. Actually, that's not bad. That's not bad. Because now that website now I just introduce this one. This website actually that's just this commercial one. You can think now this is very easy now. For example, if you have now some style slider design, have some style or color theme something, you just tell AI use the color now, use the theme. Then you can have one very perfect design. Because I just spend now I think less than 5 minutes. I ask AI to give me now some text, give me some style, give me some color. Then AI create this slider. Can see? I think that's not bad. Not bad. If maybe you just spend 1 day, 2 days, you have one good design, you just ask AI every time, please follow the design as this. Then you can have one very perfect slider design. Use it with AI. Even you can use that for commercial. I think it's very easy. So today now our topic now we're talking now what's now AI agent. I mean what's AI coding agent? Because we are doing the ComfyUI, we want to use ComfyUI as one now AI code agent. So we want everybody now can use AI for coding. Now we just use workflow, just as the UML. So everybody can understand the logic. So I thinking how to do it. Because if we ask AI to do some code, actually this is very easy. Very easy. If you just do one file, it's very easy. But if you want to do one project, the project maybe 100 file. How can I do? How can I do? So I have done a lot of research. So later I realized actually now it's very easy. It's just very easy. So now currently we use somebody now use GitHub Copilot. Some people use Cursor. Yeah. Maybe you use other tools. But I can tell you now, after my research, I found that now all the AI code agent, that's based on the large language model. That's not enough. For example, you provide one IDE, you do one AI coding agent. That's just one interface. Because now, for example, I tried now. I can show you. For example, we use the code GitHub now Copilot, now the AI agent. So you can choose a different model. You can see. 1 second. Let me make the screen smaller. Okay. So here you can select a different model. So at least I found now, because each models, some model may be very perfect for coding, some not very perfect. So even somebody say for example, GPT-4.1, sometimes if you use GPT-4.1 to do coding, let's say I will create one file for you. So you just wait, nothing happens. So that means that model cannot follow instruction very well. So even the GitHub Copilot, they do the AI coding very well. But if you have use one model not very powerful, still you not get a good results. Still not good. So all the AI coding agent, that's based on the large language model. Not actually now that's just now prompt engineering. So I think now the major thing now, that's now all the large language models, that's just language, not just as text, just chat. When we do an AI coding agent, we have two ways we need to do. Two ways. Maybe we use now, let's see this slider. I think the slider not very bad. Maybe we use this one. Okay. Yeah. So now if we use a large language model for coding, so they just can talk, they just can generate the code, but they cannot create a file. They cannot now modify your file. They cannot now run some code. They cannot manage your whole project. So we need to now provide tools for the large language model to do it. So how can I do? Actually now that's very simple. I think that's one. Maybe I make it larger because that's color. That's very strange. So this is not very clear. So you can see now. For example, if we want now the AI to create a file, we need to give function. Now we give function create a directory. We give function now rest file. We give function delete file. After that, it can create a file, can create a directory, can create one project for you in your computer. So that's called now we call AI agent, AI coding agent, because they can modify file, they can create a file in your computer. We need to provide a function. We need to provide function now to AI. So what's that? I think the most magic, that's now, I think a lot of people now, if you learn AI, maybe you heard this one, MCP. So this model now context protocol. Actually now the word now is very hard to understand now what's mean model context protocol. I think it's the most easy way. We don't need to understand what's the meaning. We just remember now the MCP. I think now a lot of people, you learn computer, you learn coding. So I think you know what's API, you know what's SDK. But what's exactly what's API mean? What's SDK mean? So maybe some people don't know now very well, but it doesn't matter. You know the meaning. So what's the MCP? So I think we just forgot the word, the model context protocol. We just thinking now that's two box. Just two box. The two box now just in your garage. You have now drill, you have now screwdriver, you have now a lot of tools in your toolbox. So you just thinking that's MCP, that's just two box. Because now, without A, we use SDK, we use API, we use now some library, some third-party library. We need to use coding. For example, if you want to use one function from third-party library, you need to do some coding to now invoke the API, to invoke the function. Without coding, even you have your application, you have now third-party library. Without write any coding, you cannot do anything. You cannot use the library. But now we use AI. You can think AI just as one real person. Just as now in your garage, you have one toolbox. The toolbox, you have a lot of tools. So once you need it, you never need to write some programming. You just thinking, which tools I can use it. So we just thinking now, that's MCP, that's just as one toolbox. That's just as one toolbox. But how can AI now know when to use which now tools? I think now that's knowledge. That's knowledge. For example, in your toolbox, a lot of tools. Each tools, you know what's the function, you know for what. That's called knowledge. That's called knowledge. The same thing. For all the tools, we need to now have some knowledge for AI. So then when AI needs it, AI can pick up any tools to use it. Maybe now I'll show you some code. I'll show you now something. Okay. Okay, that's now actually that's one very simple MCP server. Two box. We never say MCP. We just say two box. The two boxes now have three functions. One function now list file in your computer. Another function is create file. Then third one, I think that's one, two, just two functions. Just two functions. So that's now because that's code. That's Python code. Now that's actually now for coding. That's very easy. You can create one directory. You can create one file. But how AI can use these tools, this function? So we just give AI some knowledge. So you can see, this is the protocol. This is the MCP protocol. We just tell AI each function, what's the name? Then the description, what's the function for? Also now, every function now have parameter. We just tell AI what's the parameter now, which parameter is for what. So once we put the tools in your toolbox. So that means we put the knowledge in your toolbox. So AI use your toolbox, they'll get the knowledge. Once they need it, they can pick up any tools. For example, if AI wants to create one file or create one directory, now because we already give the knowledge to AI, so AI will know to pick up any function, any tools to use it. Because that's now, I think it's a very good concept. Now, currently in the world, a lot of application, a lot of library, a lot of APIs. They may be read by Python, maybe read by Node.js, even read by C++. We just now use the MCP protocol. We can share all the tools. We can wrap all the library, all the API as MCP tools. So we can use let the AI to use any tools. Maybe now the concept is still now not very easy to understand. I'll show you now the one now very important MCP server. Okay. Let me see. Okay, this one. Actually, this one is provided by cloud because the cloud they provide the MCP concept. They design the protocol. They give some samples. For example, now let's see. Everything, fetch, file system, JIT, a lot of things. But I think the most important thing now that's the file system. Why that's the most important thing? Because now we can thinking now AI just as one real person. They can do anything. But they just have brain. They just have mind. If they want to do something, they need the tools. But currently now, actually you can provide now some real tools, some physical tools. But I think currently now all the real world, for example, robot. For example, now some automation, some tools for AI. I think currently not very well now. Don't have a lot of good solution for AI to use it. But so far, I think now for coding, AI can do very well. So any task, if related to coding, we can ask AI to do it. But AI to do it, they need to do some now. For example, check your browser, create files in your computer. So we need to provide tools for AI. So that's the most important one. Once we give the file system to the AI can do anything in your computer. That's how we do the coding now with AI. All the AI coding agent, they use the file system tools. That's just same concept. Maybe not exactly this one, but the same concept. They can create a file in your computer. Let's see now what they have. They just have now read a file, read a multiple file, write file. This is very simple. This is very simple. Not just now. I think if you learn computer, you learn coding. Everybody knows this one. But the good thing now, once we use the MCP protocol, then AI can use it directly. Don't need any coding. So now let's show you the magic. Okay. I just now show you the cloud interface. The same thing. I don't know if you use cloud or not. Maybe use now Google Gemini. Maybe use ChatGPT. But this one is cloud. So cloud is just one chatbot, just text. You can chat with cloud. You can chat with any AI, but AI cannot do anything for you with your computer because AI just now produce text. Once we give tools to AI, AI can do projects in your computer now. Okay, let me show you how we can let the cloud to use the tools. Let me now check that's now the README. They say that's one usage. For example, we use for cloud desktop. Because now that's very dangerous. Now we want AI to control our computer. I think the best way we just create one container to ask AI to let AI to do it. In case AI deletes your whole computer, so we will use the Docker. We use the Docker solution. Another solution you don't need Docker. You can use this one. I think that's always okay. Okay, so that's the instruction. How can you do? Actually, that's very simple. Here. In cloud, we just go to the settings. Then we go to develop. We go to the edit now configure. I'll show you the content. We'll show you the content. Let me show you the content. Okay. You can see the content now. That's very simple. Now I just copy this one. Then because now that's you can mount now 3 different files, different directory now to the container. I just need one, so I remove the other one. I just keep one. You can see. So that's my local directory. So I mount now this directory to the container. So we let the container to modify the file in my computer. Another one is this is also very important. I think now everybody should know if you use now MCP, now if you use AI code agent. Because AI now has all the AI models, they have old knowledge. Because now when we're training the large language model, we need a long time. So that means now even the latest AI model, the knowledge is still very old. If we want now to let AI get the latest now API or documentation, we need to tell them what's the latest one. So this website, I'll show you this website. Okay, let me see. So you can see, they provide now all the information here. You can see, this is all the library. Because today I use now the slide V to create the slide. So I check. So you can see the documentation they just updated now 2 weeks ago. They just asked now updated 2 weeks ago. So how can use this one? That's still very simple. Now they have the guide. For example, we use cloud desktop. So we just do as this. So after we add this one, then every time if we ask AI to write some code, then the AI will automatically check with this website to get the latest API documentation. So that makes sure now AI have the most new knowledge. I think here now I think that's a prompt. For example, that's a prompt. So you just add now use context 7 is enough. Now that's your requirement to create a basic Nest.js project with app route. Then use context 7. It's very simple. So all the prompts you just add use context 7. Then now the code agent they will now check with this website to get the latest documentation. Okay. So now let me show you the magic. Because I have already now updated now my cloud desktop configure. You can see. So when go here, you can check something. You can see there are already 2 here. The file system. You can see that's read file, read master file, write file, edit file. Also the context 7. You can see here. But what's that? I don't know. Okay. Now let's show you some magic. Now before there's just one chatbot. Now that's not a chatbot. That's one real AI coding agent. They can do projects in your computer. Let me first show you the directory. Let me show you the. Okay. So you can see there's MCP FS. That's in my local computer. The this is empty. Currently is empty. So we check the config file. You can see the config file. We just mapping this directory to the container. So now let's do some magic. Let's do some magic. Okay. Yeah. So if we check now this file, I think maybe maybe you don't know. That doesn't matter. That's TypeScript. Actually, that's JavaScript. This is just JavaScript. They call TypeScript. So I think the most important thing maybe you just need to know now. You can see this is all the documentation for AI. This for now you can see this is just MCP protocol. So how AI use these tools? So that's the documentation. We let AI have the knowledge. So if we want to read a file, they just use this function. If we write a file, we'll use this function. So we'll give this knowledge to AI. AI will do anything. Will not do anything. But this project, that's TypeScript. As the one beginning now, I think now is best. We learn Python. So now today we'll ask AI to convert this project to Python project. So now let's do the magic. Okay. So first I copy the project because we just use ATTS. Okay, let's do the magic. So we copy the project to here. Because this project they have several MCP server. We only care the file system. So I give the prompt. I say, let me write now prompt. So please clone this project to my file system. In folder. We go one folder. I think for the direct name, I think this one may be good. Servers. So we now ask AI, please clone this project to my file system in folder. We give a folder name. That's the one. Then create a Python project to convert this file system to Python. Project name and directory. File system Python. Because I have a lot of Python projects in my computer, I want now to have one virtual environment. So I say use env virtual environment. Okay. Also now because we ask AI to convert the TypeScript to Python, so because we need to use some Python library, but actually for this one project that's very simple. Now almost all the libraries that's very common. I think there's no much different. But sometimes when you create one project, you use the library now they update very frequently. We need to make sure AI has the latest API and SDK. So we just for them we still say use context 7 to get any API or SDK maybe package. The same thing. To get any API package for use. Okay, I think it's enough. I think the most important things are very important. The first one we now context 7. Another one we need a keyword. Now file system. Why we need the two keyword? So we can see here. Let me make it smaller. That's very important now, because that's you can see that's the keyword contact 7 file system. So if we have the word, then AI will know we want the user tools. Spelling error project. Okay. So now finish. We just ask AI to translate now to convert the TypeScript to Python in my computer. Ask AI to clone the project in my computer, then convert the TypeScript to Python in my computer. Now let's do it. Let's see now if now it's working. Okay. Okay, you can see. And now first check the directory if allowed to write or do something. We just monitor in real time. You can see. Okay, we just maybe just left. This red. You can see so far it's still empty. The left side is still empty. But AI is working. Okay, you can see. Automatically creates new files. So now with MCP, we make the AI chatbot as one real AI coding agent. Just as now you develop, use your computer to create one project. You nothing to do. You just wait. You can see now. That's why I said now. All the AI coding agent, even the bigger company, even small companies, all the skill now. If it's powerful enough, that's most now is based on the language model. If they use one language model not powerful, even the bigger companies still cannot do very well. It's still working. Let me see the files. Created the file. What is this? Empty. They didn't clone. Okay, you can see all the steps. Another thing now I want to introduce this long graph. Let me see. Long graph. So you can see now. Actually, now normally if we ask AI, you ask one question, then AI just reply. That's just one time. But you can see now once we ask AI to create one project, you can see there's a lot of steps. Each step that's just one conversation. So how we do this? That's now in the next week. Next week we will have one session. We will now can make a plan because any project you cannot just as one file. Any project, for example, if you do one project, okay, they just ask me to always allow. If you do one project, if you get the requirement for one project, there's no way you just check all the requirement just in 1 minute. You get one plan, then you build the code. Normally, once you get the requirement, you need to spend maybe 1 day, 2 days, even 1 week to split the task, to schedule the work. Then you finish the work, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 1 year, 2 years. So you do it step by step. So everything step by step. You can see that's everything step by step. How we can ask AI to make everything step by step. So that's what we'll do next week. So long graph. Actually, that's very simple. They just now make AI, just as deep research. For example, if we do some research, we first make one plan. We find some keyword. Then we search with the internet. Later we get one paper. So the same thing, the long graph, they make AI can make one plan, can have different agent. For example, now one agent you just now make the project plan. Another agent just use some keyword to find the latest API documentation. Another agent just do the coding. Another agent do the QA to test. Then another agent do the documentation. So that's the magic. Now I think currently a lot of projects use this one. This is the most famous one. But it looks like they're very complex. Actually, it's very simple. Next week, I'll show you how to use. I'll give you now very simple concept. I'll give you very simple concept. What's long graph? Then I'll ask AI to create one story writer. Because now, if we ask AI to write one story, maybe just 100 words, 500 words, that's perfect. But if you write one story, 10,000 words, I can tell you that's impossible. That's impossible. But if we make one plan, we first now define the outline. Then we define the different sections, different chapters. Then we ask AI to write each chapter one by one. So then AI can do very well. So next week, I'll ask AI to create one story writer, can create any long story. That's very simple. Because we are now using AI for coding. So you don't need to exactly know how to use the long graph, but you need to understand what's the long graph for. So you can ask AI, say, please create one project with a long graph to create one story writer. Or you can create now, maybe you want to now translate different language. You have article, you have paper, you want to translate it to different language. So you can ask AI to create one AI agent, use a long graph to translate different documentation from one language to another language. That will be very easy. Now, but the most important thing, you need to know this one. You need to know the keyword. You need to know what's for that. Just thinking now, what's your toolbox? What's your toolbox? Once you want to do something, you need to ask AI, but you need to know how to ask AI. So that's your toolbox. You don't need to know now exactly what's the long graph, how you do coding with the long graph, but you need to know what's that, what it can do. So once you need it, you just ask AI to do it. So next week I'll give you one demo. First introduce what's that. Then we'll ask AI to do some project in the next week. Okay, let's see. Oh, finish. Okay, that's great. Oh, I don't know why they didn't clone this project, but they created the first system. I don't. That's very interesting. Okay, maybe just let's do a quick check. I think that's still not bad, but not exactly now follow my instruction. Maybe we just tell air. Okay, we just tell air. Okay, we just copy the file name. I just found tab directory is empty. I want you to convert the code in tar to the Python code. So I just tell AI now, my original, I want now they check the TypeScript code, then change it to Python code. Can see? You are absolutely right. I need to actually clone the original repository first to see the actual TypeScript implementation. Let me do the now and convert it to real code. So you can see sometimes AI still make a problem. Yes, that's very powerful AI. With the MCP2, actually you don't need now any tools, any code agent. You just use MCP. You can have the same function now as a cursor as GitHub Copilot. Okay, I think that's for today. Because we don't want to now let you learn how to build one MCP server, because that's very simple. Now, once you know the concept, once you need it, you can ask AI to create one MCP server. If you have one API, if you have one SDK, if you want to change it to MCP server for AI to use it, you can ask AI to do it. But the most important thing, you need to know the concept. You need to know the name MCP. What's MCP? MCP just as one toolbox in your garage. Any software, any API, any tools, if you want AI to use it, you need to put that API, that software in your garage's toolbox. How to do it? You just ask AI, I have one toolbox called MCP. Please put some API to this toolbox. Then AI can do it. So that's very easy. But now you need to know the concept. If you don't know the concept, you never ask AI to do it. Okay, thanks everybody. Now next week, I'll introduce the long graph. Then I'll tell you how to ask AI to use the long graph to create one story writer. You can write any story you want. Okay, thanks everybody. See you next week.